listening to Your Physique Radio in association with IrishMuscle.ie. We are broadcasting worldwide via iTunes, YouTube, and Facebook, bringing you the latest in bodybuilding, fitness, and nutrition. Your Physique Radio. It's your physique. It's your choice. Alright everybody, welcome along to Your Physique Radio. This is episode number 11. It is August the 5th, 2012. My name is Colin Kennedy and I'm joined on the line as always by Craig Clifford. Craig, we've got a very big show coming up next week. The competitor list is in. I have to say I'm excited for this one. It's been 3-4 weeks since we've had our last show. Are you looking forward to it yourself?
Absolutely, man, absolutely. 20 competitors and probably 7 of them could probably win the show. So this is going to be a very, very good show.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's 20 as of today when we got the list, and we know there will be probably 1 or 2 late entries as well. So, you know, we're definitely looking at 20 names, and like you said, there is 5, 6, 7 guys in there who have a legitimate chance, and it's going to be a runoff for the top 3 for sure, there's no question. At the moment, Craig, looking at the list, I'll just shout out the names there quick for our listeners, and hopefully my pronunciation will be as good as always. We've got Pablo Alazares, Lee Banks, Brandon Curry, Clarence Davis, Wendell Floyd, Tony Freeman, Timmy Gillard, James Hampton, Jason Hull, Todd Jewell, Manuel Lamelli, Cesar Mendable, Zahar Mulcahal, Peter Pirquitz, Sean Roden, Manuel Romero, Keith Williams, Ruli Winkler, Nathan Wansley, and Hidetari Yamagishi. So Craig, straight away there's names that pop out there to me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, just starting from the top there, now you're looking at people who stand out to me with Brandon Curry, Tony Freeman, Jason Hull, Todd Jewell maybe, Sean Roden, Keith Williams, Roy Winkler, Hidetari Yamagishi. So that's probably 6 or 7 names there now that could all possibly win it. If I had to pick 3, which would be very, very difficult, and presuming everyone's in shape, I'm probably going to go with Tony Freeman at 1, Roy Winkler at 2, and Hidetari Yamagishi at 3. But if he did 1, it wouldn't surprise me either. So it's very, very hard one to call. And then you're looking at 4, 5, and 6th place. You're looking at, we say, Keith Williams, Sean Roden, Todd Jewell, Jason Hull, Brandon Curry. There's 4 names there, and any one of them could take 4th, or maybe even sneak into the top 3. What's your call on this show?
You know what, man? I'm looking at Tony Freeman to do well on this. He needs a good showing, and I think this will be the one for him. Looking at Ruli Winkler in the last couple of weeks on video and in images, he does look good, but you know, gym photos and on-stage photos are always different. They always say that Dennis James was the gym Mr. Olympia because he always looked awesome 2 weeks out. But you know, Ruli can come in, he can look great on stage and he can look crap on stage. So it's really just a matter of which one shows up on the day. Consistency wise, I think Hidetari Yamagishi is always in there. He's never really out of shape. A little bit soft from time to time, but it's normally just water retention as opposed to being out of shape. So Hidetari Yamagishi, Tony Freeman, they're my kind of fighting for the top. I'm not going to forget about Sean Roden. I think he's got a great structure, a great physique. I think he's going to do very well here, possibly fighting for 3rd place. And then you've got Jason Hull, Todd Jewell, Brandon Curry, I think could possibly sneak in 3, 4, 5. Not necessarily in that order, but you know, they're my 5 guys. So Hidetari Yamagishi, Sean Roden, Tony Freeman, Brandon Curry, Jason Hull, Todd Jewell, and I think Ruli Winkler is going to disappear. I think he's not going to come in shape this coming Saturday in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good few of these guys, regardless of their placing, unless they place 1st, but anyone from 2nd to 20th, where them guys will probably compete next week in Dallas as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I was watching a video of Keith Williams just yesterday. I posted on our Facebook page. In the video he states that he is competing in Dallas as well. Now, should he do well here at Tampa, maybe he might decide to reconsider that, but as it stands right now, he's planning on doing both shows, so a week apart. Maybe he can get better come the 2nd week, or who knows, maybe he'll get worse. And after already possibly qualifying for the Olympia, the last thing you want to do is get worse in your next show before the Olympia, as the judges are going to be similar. They're going to see the photographs, they're going to see the images, and you absolutely will be judged by your last appearance when it comes to Olympia time, as far as I'm concerned. If you're out of shape, they're not going to be looking at you straight away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it could be detrimental to his endeavours to try and get in there into that top 10, top 8 Mr. Olympia. To be very fair, I don't think he's going to achieve that this year regardless. But if he were to do well this coming weekend and then try again the following weekend and not do well, I think he's going to hurt himself big time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Riley Winkler comes in the condition that he won the New York Pro Show at, was it probably 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Maybe, I'm not sure. Then he should win the show. But I mean, I posted a picture of Tony Freeman on our site there on the Facebook page a couple of days ago, and Jesus Christ, he looked great. Like, that was 12 days out.
Yeah, and the thing is, most of these guys will be in shape come 10 days, 12 days out, and they're just trying to maintain it, and sometimes that's harder to do than it is to get there in the first place, because
that's it.
You know, if you're in condition, or if you're in contest shape 12 days out, to me, that's a hard thing to maintain and to keep. I think you're better off taking a smaller risk and being 4 or 5 days out getting in shape if you can. But again, look, these are seasoned pros, seasoned veterans. Let's see if they show us what it's all about being an IFBB pro. They're in shape, way out of time, or maybe it's just normal for those guys. But again, we'll find out come next Saturday night in Tampa, Florida, at the IFBB Pro Bodybuilding Weekly Championships. Definitely looking forward to it. But Craig, just to mention a few names there who, like, you've got a lot of international people. As I'm looking at the list, probably 7 out of the bottom 10 guys are international. It's a good show for somebody to break through here. Now, who it is going to come in and jump into that top 5, top 6, I'm not quite sure, but I do think there'll be one surprise. There'll be one kind of dark horse who'll jump in there, give us all a run for their money, or give all the guys a run for their money. But again, not knowing these guys, not having seen them on stage before, and if they have, they certainly haven't placed in the top 3 or top 5 in the IFBB in America at least. So, you know, I think picking the top 5, 6 names that we already did, they're the guys who are going to be fighting it out regardless. And come this time next week, we will have a full list, a full file of photos to go from and give our own critique, I suppose, to how the show went down. But it's not the only category that is in this show coming next week. You know, we also have women's bodybuilding, which is nice to see. If we're looking at our last 2 conversations and the last 2 shows about women's bodybuilding stepping back, and you know, there's not enough athletes competing because typically it's 8 here and it's 10 there. I'd like to think that they were listening and they got a kick in the ass from it, but 23 female competitors in bodybuilding, which is still more than the male. That is awesome. And looking down the line there, again, most of these girls are American. You've got one from Canada, one from Argentina, one from Bahamas, one from France, and that's it basically. Everyone else is American. So as far as American female bodybuilding is going, it looks like it's kind of hanging in there. You know, previous shows would suggest differently, but looking at 23 female bodybuilders standing on stage at the Pro Bodybuilding Weekly Championships come next week, women's bodybuilders, you have to be fairly proud of the fact that they have stepped up and they're doing what they have to do to keep the sport alive. They're competing, and as long as they're competing, we can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before we go any further there, we were mentioning the last few weeks, guys, as well, about Ed Nunn was down to compete in this show, and when I met him in Birmingham a few weeks ago, he did tell me he was doing the show. He was like, yeah, nailed on to do this and Dallas, and that'll bring him into the Olympia. But recently, I found out that he's been travelling so much. He was only in Brazil last week. He said it's too much on his plate to get ready for the show, so he's going to skip this one and going to do the Phoenix Pro Show in the first. I think it's the 1st of September. I'm not sure, but so that's where we kind of made the mistake of saying he was in, guys. But we're only going on what he told us. Colin, if you pick a top 5 and you have to pick top 5 for the men's, go for it. In the order, who's winning?
Alright, I'll go Hidetari Yamagishi, Tony Freeman, Brandon Curry, Todd Jewell, Jason Hull. Top 5.
Right.
What about you?
And Rolly Winkler's not in your top 5?
No.
Wow, alright. I'm going to go with Tony Freeman, Rolly Winkler, Hide, number 4, I'm going to put in Brandon Curry, and number 5, Sean Roden. I'm leaving out Jason Hunt because I seen him 3 weeks ago, and it's a miracle if he can get into shape. An absolute miracle.
Yeah.
It really will be. Like, if he does, hats off to the guy, because he's got plenty of muscle on that body, but it'd be a minor miracle if he can get in shape, being honest.
Yeah, well, I would say that Sean Roden there, the one I didn't mention in my top 5 but mentioned earlier, he's probably one of the guys who can mess up things for me there. If I'm a gambling man, he can probably jump in there somewhere 3, 4, 5 for sure. But definitely I think it's going to be a fight between Tony and Hidetada, first and second. Hidetada being my pick, of course, but look, we'll see if the David versus Goliath plays out, and if Hidetada is in fact victorious come next weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. But that's the males open class. There is no 212 class at this show, and as Craig mentioned, Ed Nunn is out. He would have been one of the top contenders as far as we're concerned. Women's bodybuilding looks alive and well as according to this competition. And then you've also got women's figure, which has about 15 athletes in there or thereabouts. And then you got women's bikini. And now, normally, Craig, we don't cover bikini, but I looked at the competitor list for this one, and 2 names jump out at me, and for 2 completely separate reasons. The first one that jumps out at me is Sarah Picken Brown. Now, she's originally from South Africa, living in Melbourne in Australia. And the last time I heard this girl's name, she was competing in figure, and it was in a show in New Zealand that I saw her in. So about 3 years ago, she was competing as a figure competitor, and a very good one at that. She's very short. She's probably 5 feet tall, if anything. So I wonder what the change is for. Maybe she's just toned down the training. She's not as, I don't want to say she's not as dedicated, but it definitely doesn't require as much high intensity training to be in bikini as it does to be in women's figure, as far as I'm concerned. Now I might get a few hate emails from that, but look, it is what it is. So she's my one surprise. So fair play to her for travelling all the way from Australia to be in this show. And then, Craig, the second athlete there in the bikini class that surprises me is Nicole Negrani, who is the current defending Miss Bikini Olympia. So now she did place 3rd at the Arnold Classic recently, which is obviously a big surprise for her, considering she was the defending Olympia champion. To see her doing this show, Craig, are you surprised, or do you think, you know, everyone has to earn a little bit of money here and there?
Yeah, that is surprising, like that, an Olympia. It's just because since I started following bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia has never competed in any other show, like not even the Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just Olympia once a year, which is kind of strange. Maybe it's different than bikini, and like you say, it's that you need to put food on the table, bills have to be paid, so she might have some contract with some supplement company that she has to compete more than once a year. You never know, these type of things, like, so yeah, it is a strange one, like, but there's probably a reason for that, like.
Yeah, I suppose though the one thing is for bikini girls, it's, you know, they don't have to get in the same condition as the figure fitness or bodybuilding, so, you know, they can hold their conditioning a hell of a lot better. Now, that's not to say they're not in great shape, don't get me wrong, but they're not down at those very, very, very low body fat percentages, which are ridiculously hard to maintain. So, considering she's 7, 8.5 weeks out from the Olympia, you know, she can definitely take a week off of the diet, go back, and then start reassessing from there in. Presuming it all goes well, however, again, mentioning earlier, if you do well on one show and do crap in your next nearest show to the Olympia, that's going to look terrible when you stand on stage and the judges have to judge you. Again, they should judge you on how you look on the day, but we all know that your last performance is the one you're based upon. And I think if she placed 2nd or 3rd in this, or worse possibly, she will not come home with the Miss Olympia title under her belt again this year. I think it's a huge risk. Again, like you said, it could be some sponsorship deal that, look, we need you to compete again this year, or that was what she signed up for when she joined on with whoever she's sponsored by. But definitely she surprises me that she's entering this show. Not that it's not a good show, but like you said, we never see a reigning Olympia champ in any category pretty much do anything other than the Olympia itself. Sometimes the Arnold, but surely not a local show, as we'd call it.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Like, that is a good point. It's a very, very strange decision, because that, like you said, if for some reason something goes wrong and she comes in the so-called smaller shows in 2nd or 3rd or 4th, they just won't look at her, no matter how good she is in the Olympia. And like, I suppose going back to the earlier question, like they never strain more than probably 5 to 7 pounds away from their stage weight. So they'd never have like weeks and weeks of dieting either, you know, the bikini athlete, most bikini athletes, not all, but most. So, you know, like you say, 7 weeks to go, you can afford to take a week off, maybe 2, and still have 5 weeks to get in shape, so.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes, but yeah, it just surprised me when I was looking down through the names there, but again, Sarah Picken-Brown from Australia, best of luck. Again, the last time I saw her compete was in New Zealand as a figure competitor, and then we're surprised by Nicole Negroni competing here, but again, as we said, it could be contract agreements, who knows. But anyways,
again, Colin, on the flip side, if she comes in and completely steals the show, everyone's talking about her. Oh, she was fabulous in Florida. She's unbelievable. She's going to have loads of hype coming into the Olympia. So you know, it could go the opposite way too. You know.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, no, yeah, absolutely. But it'll be interesting to see. But I'm looking forward to the competition as a whole for sure. There's no question.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well then, guys, we're gonna move away from our competition coverage, but we will be back next week to do a review of that show, and we'll have a lot more information about it, how it went down. We'll have seen videos and footage and heard a little bit through the grapevine as well. So do tune in again next week for a review of the IFBB Pro Bodybuilding Weekly Championships, 10th and 11th of August, and you'll hear us on the 12th giving our rundown. Our topic of the week then, Craig, this week is our next item on the agenda. This segment is brought to you by irishmuscle.ie, Ireland's #1 bodybuilding destination. And be sure to check out their new forum, which is located at forum.irishmuscle.ie. The topic of the week this week is periodization training and how to go about it and the benefits of it. Craig, I can hear that you're eager to go. Why don't you jump in there and give us an idea of how you would approach training in this manner?
Alright guys, well, periodization is simply an organisation and planning of training. In sport, this planning is usually based upon achieving maximum physical abilities, for example like strength, speed, power, etc., for a given competition or a period of competitions. In bodybuilding, the training might be organised around a specific bodybuilding contest, and most bodybuilders will actually plan or instinctively periodise their training in line with a specific goal. You know, lose body fat, bring up a lagging body part, what have you, you know. So in general, if you have a specific goal for a period of time, then essentially you will use periodization. Just a couple of common terms used in the different stages of periodization is a training unit, and that refers to the actual daily workout. So the unit is your workout. You'll hear the word microcycle, which refers to a week of training, so a week of units, of training units. A mesocycle refers to the period lasting 2 to 4 months, and a macrocycle, which is also called the Olympic cycle, and for the reason because it's lasting anywhere from 1 to 4 years. You could take professional rugby players for example, or any rugby players, but professional rugby players would say. They will usually have a 3-month window where they have to bring up their lagging body parts, their fitness, whatever it may be, and 9 months of training when they're trying to maintain fitness and strength. So they have like an on-season and an off-season, and the training styles for both will be completely different. So if you take bodybuilding, we go through cycles where we're bulking up, getting lean, etc. And using periodization, we take one goal and give that everything for the allotted time. It's the best approach for training, and especially bodybuilding. Now, like I say that now, just going back to my second last sentence, by using periodization, we take one goal and give it everything for the allotted time. We did kind of mention that last week, and we kind of browsed over it a bit, as in like if some fella was overweight and he wanted to gain muscle, which would you rather do? Now, that's a perfect periodization question. Right, we're going to, for the first period, we're going to work on losing weight, give it 6 months or whatever it is, and then gradually we bring in the weights a bit more, and take back the cardio a bit less and a bit less. So that's kind of periodizing training to suit our needs and our goals, you know. Would you like to add anything, Colin, or would you like to give your own 2 cents on it?
Yeah, well, basically, I'm gearing mine towards, let's say, if you're doing athletics, because you know athletics started yesterday in the Olympics, and it kind of inspired me to let's give the folks out there something toward that, because as we know, not all of our listeners are bodybuilders or fitness or figure or anything like that. So we do have quite a broad spectrum out there. So you covering a little bit on rugby, and I'm going to go a little bit for the athletic phase. So let's say you're competing at a national level. You know when the nationals are going to be on. It's over the course of a weekend, come whatever. Let's say it's in September. You want to make sure that you know when that date is, and you want to work backward from there. So if you've got a full year, let's say nationals just finished last week and you're disappointed with your, I want to do better next year, I'm going to put a plan in place. This is where your periodization comes in. So it's very much putting separate phases throughout the year, gearing towards being at your absolute best come next September, presuming that it's, it's September now, let's say. Or let's go back, let's make it easier for everyone at home. It's August, so your nationals are on next August, so you've got 1 year to go. You want to break it down into different phases, and again, if you're at school or if you're in college and you've got different competitions throughout the year with that place as well, you might want to factor that in, because you can have some high points in there, but definitely you want to keep all of your energy and focus all of your attention towards the final 3-4 week cycle, let's say, where you are absolutely at your peak. And it all goes about different phases. So as far as I'm concerned, we're going to put 6 phases in there. The first one will be 16 weeks long, so you're talking almost 4 full months. And in this phase, you're basically looking at building upon your general fitness, your general strength, and you're making your flexibility and your endurance all just upping them a little bit from last year. Phase 2, then you're going to start working on your specific fitness and advanced technical skills. So if you're looking at the 100-meter sprint, you want to make sure you're practicing the 100-meter sprint. You want to make sure you're practicing starting from the blocks, and you're practicing your lean, and as you're gradually standing up as you come to the line, you want to practice throwing your chest forward, and you want to make sure that your stride lengths are where they are, because if anyone doesn't know, but for those who compete in athletics, typically they will know exactly how many steps it is going to take them to cross the line from the second they start to the time they finish. They've got a very good idea whether it's going to be 41 steps or 42 steps or whatever the case is before they cover 100 meters. And when you start getting that specific, you know that the difference between 41 steps and 40 steps is probably going to be a split of a second, but that could be all of the difference between coming first and coming fourth. Especially if you look at the very, very top level where everyone's bunched into the space of 3/4 of a second from first to last. It's very, very important to make sure you gain those extra couple of milliseconds along the way. Phase 3 then is more competition experience. So like I said, if you've got a college event coming up, or a college meet, or a school meet, if you're still in high school or secondary school, you do want to kind of factor that in. You can use it as a testing platform. Most athletes will always want to win, but the most clever ones will hold back when they realise it's time to hold back. Just like again we'll see in the Olympics these last or the last week and the next week, where you'll see guys getting close to the line, be it in the pool or on the track, and they'll slow down because they know, well, I've won, or I'm going to qualify in second or third place anyway. Why kill myself to try and break a stupid record that I can do the next time around? So you got to be smart with your training too. Don't always go all out. And in competition, likewise, you don't always have to give 100% of the effort. However, if you don't give 100% of the effort, you won't get 100% of the results. But as long as you're aware of that and you're saving it for something else, I wouldn't be concerned. Phase 4, then you're talking about the adjustment of the technical aspects. So making sure that you're very, very on point to the starting blocks, to the finish, exactly how many strides it's going to take you to get there, that your hands are always driving forwards and your elbows are going back, as opposed to laterally, which you're going to lose momentum, and you're just driving energy left and right instead of forwards and back, which will give you extra propulsion. So you will notice that the fastest guys in the world, their hands will be working just as quick as their feet, and it will make them much more efficient and powerful runners. Phase 5, then you come into your competition aspect, where you're literally going for gold, or whatever the case may be. It's the last 3 or 4 weeks before competition. You're starting to gear things down, your volume starts to drop a little bit, and you're very technical on the start, the midpoint and the finish, and you're doing small cycles. You're probably not going to do very many 100-meter sprints in your training routine, and you've probably actually taken a day less than you normally would train. So if you're typically doing 4 or 5 days a week, you're probably coming back to doing 3 or 4 days a week. You're lessening the volume. The intensity is still pretty good, but you're very focused on the aspect and the outcome come competition day. When the competition's all over and done, then you still got one more phase to go, and that's your recovery. You do not want to just stop training for the sake of stopping because the season is done. Again, we mentioned this before. Just like after a football game or a soccer game or a rugby game, whatever it is, or in swimming, if you watch it on the Olympics, they'll go and they'll warm down. They're not just stopping, getting out of the pool and leaving, they're warming down. You want to do as much as you can to have an active recovery. Your body will recover faster, and it will hopefully flush out some of that lactic acid as well that will stay there. If not, now there's not many studies out there to suggest that actually is true, but at least if it's a mental approach or the mental psyche gets you to believe that it's helping you, then absolutely you want to do that. Because most of the top athletes out there, Craig, and our listeners will also know that there is kind of a ritual. They'll put on their left sock first, then they'll put on their right, and they'll tie their lace one way, or they'll tie their lace another, or they'll bless themselves before they cross the touch line. You know, little things like that. And if they don't do that and they realise they didn't do it, that can play with their mental focus. So, you know, having a routine is very, very important, and a lot of guys out there will have it. I know I used to have it myself, which was ridiculous thinking about it, but you know, you do these things when you're playing competitive sports. You feel like if you keep a pattern or a routine, that you will perform better each time thereafter.
It's like sports related OCD. But probably, if they're honest, 95% of the professional athletes in the world probably have it.
Oh yeah, even Craig, when I'm going in under a bench press or a squat, you know, I'll grip the bar, I'll probably shake it once or twice, and it's kind of a psychological thing. Alright, come on, let's do this. And you get underneath, and I'll do 1 or 2 big breaths, and when I lift it off, I'll probably shout, oh yep, and you know, I'll do my lift and I'll push it back up, and as much as the person next to me might be put off by my yep, I don't care, you know what I mean? It made me push more weight than I've done before, or maybe get the extra repetition, whatever it was. Physically, it's doing nothing for me, I don't care, it's not, but psychologically, it's telling me, alright, I've got this. You know, I'm giving myself self-motivation, or I'm talking to myself, and I'm telling myself, yes, you can do this, you will do this, and once I'm done, it's like, yeah, you know, it's proud of the fact.
I missed that, yep.
Yes, that's still in there, especially when I'm doing less than 6 reps. Every repetition will have some sort of grunt or a yip, so it's, you know, it's there, and it helps me train, and I do honestly believe that the psychological aspect is very, very, very important, if not more important than your physical abilities, because your body will give up before the mind does. So if you have a strong mind, strong mental focus, you can keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. Running 26 miles in a marathon is not something your body wants to do, but if your mind tells it that it can, it will. You know, there's people out there who are 350 pounds who've run marathons, and there's guys who are 150 who say, oh, I can't do that. You can't do it because you don't want to do it. There's a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, like, guys, that can't be underestimated, what Colin is saying. Like, and this is going back to, I think we mentioned it in episode 3 or 4 about the power of the mind. Again, just to reiterate, it's the strongest tool you'll have in your, or the strongest tool you'll have in your bag. Let's say. I mean, we all have straps, weightlifting belts. If your mind and you're ready to go when you go into the gym, I guarantee you'll have a better session than you will if you weren't thinking about it and you just go in and see what benches are around. Now I'll do that exercise because that's not being used. I guarantee if you're focused and you use your mind. Now I know I'm kind of going off the point a little, but just reiterating, use your mind to your advantage. It can hurt you, but it can help you just as easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. If you got the right mindset, or you got a good team talk at the start, you know, quite often you'll see, especially at the local level back home, you'll have guys who come in and are like, oh, just kind of swearing at one another, trying to get you amped up. By the time you walk out onto the field, that energy is gone. You know, you have to have your own ability there. You have to have your own ways of giving yourself that push and that mental, the mental strength, let's say, to keep going when you're tired, to keep running, to go for another ball, to take another tackle, to be hit another time if you're in the ring, whatever it is. You have to physically and mentally be on a par with one another. And if your mental side is not there, I don't care how strong you are, how fast you are, you're never going to be as good as you could be. You still might be great, but you're never going to be the best.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just like that, no, you have to learn to self-motivate. Because if you're depending on something or someone, especially, say, you know, I train, I always have my best training sessions when I'm with Colin. That's probably true, but, you know, if when Colin leaves for Arizona, like, what does that mean? That I can't motivate myself. Because if he has the power to motivate me, he also has the power to take it away. Remember that. So learn to self-motivate, find something deep inside you that you can use, just to fire you through that 1 rep max, or that 5 rep max, or 6 rep max, or whatever it may be. You know, so learn to self-motivate, guys. Again, using the brain, but so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to go back here and finish the last little thing about periodization training. And you know, I classified it into 6 phases. More often it will be broken down into 4, where you've got general preparation, which is going to be lower intensity but a lot of volume and very little recovery time, so that's where you're training more often. You've got specific preparation phase then again, which is still low intensity, it's still high volume, and again it's still a low recovery time, because you're very much just looking at the technical aspect. And then you've got pre-competition. Everything then kind of goes to the medium end, where you're looking at, you know, your mid-range intensity, mid-range of volume, mid-range of recovery. At this stage, you're just waiting for competition to come around. You're maintaining what you've gained in the general preparation and the specific preparation, and you're hanging on to it, knowing that the competition phase is coming. And when it comes, it's high intensity, it's very low volume, and it's long recovery period. So your training will actually lower again in terms of the amount that you do. But when you're there, you're absolutely 100% giving it everything that you have, because you know that race day is coming, and you're going to make sure that you do the best that you can on the day. And you know, you typically, if you train hard, you'll play hard, and if you train soft, you'll play soft. And more often than not, I've seen it where you've got a bunch of guys on the field and the coach might show up 10-15 minutes late. And what do they do for those 10-15 minutes? To sit in their ass having a cigarette. Yeah. You know, it's get out there, use those 15 minutes. You know, get out and train. You don't need somebody to hold your hand all the time. You've been playing the sport or activity for whatever, 5, 10, 15 years. Surely at this stage you know what a warm-up is. Surely you know what a pre-stretch is. Surely you know what some drills are, and you can manage to do that yourself. And big difference,
I mean, worst case scenario, do a few laps of the pitch until he comes. Worst case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true, Colin, man. That's so true, buddy. Yeah. People just depend so much on other people like that. Like, especially in that sports, in the amateur sports sector. Like, you see it here, like you say now in soccer, like soccer and football and hurling. They will wait, like, they'll wait 15 minutes, they'll wait half an hour because the guy is late.
Or even worse, if the guy doesn't show up at all, they'll just go home, you know. It's one thing if you're a bunch of kids where you're 14 and 15, you're like, ah, that's great. But if you're, say, 2 or 3 weeks away from a game or a final, whatever it is, and for whatever reason your coach gets held up, sorry guys, I can't make it tonight, somebody volunteer and say, hey, I'll take the session, you know. Just get out there and at least move around, at least get used to the kicking the ball or hitting the ball or throwing the ball, whatever your sport is. You know, there's no point in not going. It's just like if your training partner were not to show up to the gym, you don't go home. You know, you modify what you have to do if you have to modify it. You know, if you're planning on spotting, fine, but you modify it. And we mentioned this prior, Craig mentioned it, you know, if you get a late text or a late phone call, it should not ruin your session. It might change it, but, you know, change is okay. As long as you get in there and you do what you can, change the exercise, modify them a little bit so that you absolutely are sure that you're safe in achieving them and completing them. Wonderful. But absolutely don't go home because someone didn't show up. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. When you mention it, however bad it sounds from the team perspective, when you mention it in the gym perspective, it just sounds so ridiculous. Like.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember one time playing a hurling match and, well, showed up for a hurling match at home and the other team, whatever reason, didn't show. And it was like, alright guys, back on the bus, let's go home. And that was it. Instead of actually just taking a training session while we were there anyway. It was
that's it. You had them hours put away, right?
Exactly. So we had a bunch of 25 guys. Everyone was ready to go. We were all geared up. Why not make a great training session out of what we had kind of geared towards a game? You know, it was just ridiculous. And the coach is just as much at fault for saying, all right, lad. Well, actually, he was the one at fault because it was his idea. Let's go home, that's it, you know. And at that age, I think I was only 16 or 17, so it wasn't a matter of me arguing with the coach or anything. It was just, okay, and off you go. But if that were to happen now, I absolutely would say, hang on now. You're going to waste this opportunity here when we're all here together, we're all geared up, that we can't at least work on some basic skills. Pile of crap. Looking back, that really pisses me off. But again, look, now I tend not to compete in team sports, so I've only got myself to blame if I don't train hard or don't show up for training. So
that's one of the main reasons I gave up playing soccer, was because I had to depend on other people for it. Yeah. And no one, I mightn't have been the best player in the world, but Jesus Christ, I gave it 110% every time I played, and even my training sessions 110%.
Yeah.
And that all stemmed from from you and learning your work ethic in the gym. And then when I started playing soccer properly, then the last few years, that's when I kind of hit home and I went, this is a waste of time, like. Complete waste of time. Fellas coming in drunk after a Saturday night out and we playing a game at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock Sunday morning. It's like, why should I stay in and ruin my whole weekend preparing for a match when the fella right next to me and my teammate is pretty much paralytic drunk on the pitch? I mean, what's that like?
I know.
And that happens every single weekend, like, in Ireland. Maybe I'm taking it too serious, which I was told.
Yeah.
It's just a game of soccer, but to me, no matter what I'm doing, I want to be good at it. I don't want to just play for the sake of playing.
Yeah.
I want to win. If it's a friendly, if we're kicking our boat amongst friends, I still want to win.
Absolutely, and it's that drive or mentality. You have to have that. You have to want to win. You have to want to win those friendly games. And I don't care if you it was just a practice match or it was just a trial game. I don't care. You know, if you lost in that, you're going to get used to losing. You're going to get used to the idea of not running hard or not sprinting to the next ball or not taking a hard tackle. And you know, like I said, you train hard, you play hard, and you know, I don't know. Just some people out there just don't get it the same. Look, it is what it is. Everyone is different. But I very much admire coaches who take a bunch of 10, 15, 20 guys or girls, whatever it is, and they have to try and motivate them. I've done it myself where I've had groups of teams, and you know, it can be very hard sometimes to look back and see some guy who's just slowed down because he was starting to get a little bit tired. And I was out, like you said, I was drinking last night, so I got a hangover. It's like, that's not an excuse to me. You know, that's self-inflicted. You did it to yourself. You knew you had training. This wasn't a surprise session. You should have been ready for this, and they were not. So it just shows a lack of commitment. And then, of course, you've got the guys who have all the talent in the world and don't want to put in the effort, but still, because they've got that good bit of talent, the coaches say, all right, you're on the team no matter how crap they play when they're practicing.
Yeah.
And I understand that everyone wants to win, and that's all well and good, but once in a while somebody has to be made an example of. If they're not putting in the effort, they don't get to play. And
straight out, I'd rather lose every game with the fellas who train and put in the effort week in, week out than the fellas who don't come training and finish mid-table or win. I mean, like you say, everyone wants to win, but we're looking at excuses again, Colin, and I mean, that's probably a good segue into our next segment, but oh my God almighty, like.
I know, yeah, but I'll just go quickly back here to periodization training.
Oh, yes.
You do want to make sure that you have a timeline in place, because there's no point starting something unless you know where the end date will be. So get your calendar off your local company or local team or local organisation, whoever it is. Find out when that competition is on, find out when that big game is on, whatever it is, and work your way back from there and break it up evenly so that you do have enough time to improve on different aspects. Or if you're very close to competition now, at least put some of the parameters in place that you're tapering down just a little bit as you come into the final week. Like a marathon runner is not going to run 26 miles the day before his actual marathon race. You know, he's probably going to do maybe 15 miles 2 days before, just to make sure he's still moving, and that's probably just about it. Some will have slightly different approaches, of course, but I cannot imagine anyone is out there doing 26 miles the day before a 26-mile race. But again, you want to make sure what you're doing is realistic as well, it's measurable. You know, make sure that you're not jumping into the deep end and that you have got some advice there. The last thing you want to do is put in all of the effort but not know how to use that effort that you have. So if you need to hire a coach or you need to get in touch with somebody, spend a couple of €100, a couple of $100, get a good training program from someone, touch back in with them halfway through the program, make sure you're still on track or whatever way they do their planning and payment process, whatever it is. But definitely having someone out there who you're accountable to for your training, be it a personal trainer at the gym, be it an athletic trainer on the track or on the field, or be it a coach, somebody who's going to kick you in the ass and say, hang on now, you didn't show up for training yesterday, you missed last week, you were 20 minutes late today, this is not happening. You cannot realistically think that you're going to get the same results as you would if you were on time every time and here every time you're supposed to be. So having somebody on the outside, I think, is a very, very good thing to have. But again, you've got to be able to use that information yourself. Should that person, for whatever reason, disappear or miss a session themselves, you need to be able to take what you've learned and put it into practice and train hard on your own. The best athletes in the world can do their own training when needs be, but most of them absolutely will have somebody on the sidelines helping them out as much as they can. But with that, I'm going to move on. It's a very, very broad topic. If you want more information, just pump in periodization training into Google. You know, information will pop up. There's a lot of different ideas and avenues in which you can take, but definitely don't take one just because it looks easier than the next. Take one that looks the best for the type of sport that you're participating in or the type of activity that you want to get better at. But with that, Craig, then we'll move on, I suppose, unless you have anything else you would like to add.
That's pretty much it, Colin.
Alright, well then guys, our next topic is our interview of the week. Our guest this week is a national level bodybuilder. He was born in Poland but now calls Ireland home. He's the manager of the Vitamin Shop in Galway and he is the creator of irishmuscle.ie. David Geller, welcome to Your Physique Radio.
Hello guys, how are you?
Doing good, pal. David, tell us this. Let's go back to the very start back in Poland. When did you start getting involved in bodybuilding, and we'll start working our way forwards on a timeline?
Actually, I started in 1997. That was a long time ago, but you know, that's how I started the bodybuilding. Before that, since I was a kid, you know, I always tried to stay active. When I was 8 years old, I started training martial arts, and I was continued that. When I was 16, I changed the discipline. First, I started a couple of years of karate, then aikido, box, something like that. But when I was 16, I was actually falling in love in bodybuilding, you know. Since the first training, I knew that that's what I would like to do in all my life, to be honest. You know, and that's how I started. But, you know, to be honest with you, first 10 years, I never thinking about bodybuilding seriously. I would like to just look better, you know, because I'm naturally very skinny person, like a skin and bones, really. When I was start training, I remember 54 kg, so really, really tiny guy. Yeah, so I like to, you know, in the beginning improve my physique, and because, you know, bodybuilding is, you know, like a very expensive sport, you know, all of that. When I was living in Poland, I couldn't even thinking about seriously about bodybuilding because I didn't have the money, you know, to eat properly, to use the supplements, and all of that stuff, you know. And you know, then all my life was actually changed in 2004 when the European Union was actually open the doors, and I came over to Ireland, you know, that time. And since then, my life was completely changed. From the beginning, of course, it wasn't too easy because I didn't know English at all. So I started, you know, working for the cleaning company, and I was doing really, really the worst job I ever did. You know, like cleaning toilets and all of that stuff because, you know, I couldn't do anything else, to be honest with you. And I stick with that job another 3 years, but after 3 years, I said, geez, I can't be a cleaner, you know, all my life. I have to change something. I improved a bit my English, but still wasn't so good. And I decided to do some security license, you know, and I started working at the hotel on the door at that time, couple months, and then I started working for a factory, in a medical factory. That was a good time, actually. Because that was in 2007, and that was the time where I actually decided to compete in the first time. So, you know, the work in the medical factory was pretty good because I didn't work physically. I was just sitting 8 hours on my ass, you know, and just push the button, you know. So I could eat every 3 hours and all of that. So my preparation was pretty good for this competition, and thank God I won because, you know, I think if I couldn't win that show, I don't know would I be still competing, you know. But that was a signal for me to work it, you know. You know, that's how I was actually started, and thanks God I found, you know, after a few months, I found a few people who would like to help me that time, and they actually they made me a proposal to open a shop, the vitamin shop. And on the beginning, they actually want me to work for them, but finally, that was a vitamin shop owners, you know. The first shop in Dublin, they was opening, and they was thinking about to open another shop in Galway. but they found they wouldn't be able to cover me on the holiday or something like that. So they asked me that time, would I like to be like an owner, but I didn't have the money to open the shop. So I decided with my wife that time that, okay, we try to get some credit in the bank. I didn't know really, that time if that's going to be, good idea or not, but thanks God it was. And I started doing, what I really love it, and I'm still doing that, so I just make my dream come true, I think, and after that was just better and better, I was working in the shop, then I started working for the fitness school, and I'm teaching the future personal trainer right now, and what else? And then I'm personal trainer myself, I passed the test, and the license and all of that, so I'm teaching the other people. And since last year, I managed the Irish muscle. So that's my story.
So, should we call you Gizman or David?
That's a good question. Good question. Gizman is actually my nickname from Poland. That's like from the main popular bodybuilding board in Poland. I'm actually user since 1997, since I started the bodybuilding, and I'm actually in Katowice, which is on the south part of the Poland, and the place where I was living, we call it Giszowiec. So that's why I call myself Gishman, and so that's where it's coming from.
David, when you got to Ireland initially and you started working as a cleaner and you decided, look, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. At that time, what did you think would be coming up? Did you ever envision Irish Muscle coming online and, having Vitamin Shop? And
not really, to be honest, because, like I said, still, I didn't feel too comfortable with my language and all of that. But, on that time, I just really want to change my job, because I always try to think, about the future, what I'm going to be doing in the next few years, So not really. The idea of Irish Muscle, I think, was in my head around 2 years ago when I found the big gap in the multimedia about the Irish bodybuilding. I was looking for myself any information about the Irish bodybuilders, about the preparation or anything like that. Many of my customers from the shop also were always asking me, you see, oh Dave, where is the next competition? Or who is the current national champion? Or who is the current Mr. Ireland? And to be honest with you, the people can't find that information, couldn't find that information at all. Only maybe except the people who was in the show, who takes the part of the competition, and we couldn't find in any other way, So, I'm from Poland, and in Poland the bodybuilding is very, very popular, very famous, and we also have the muscle development website, and I know the website is very famous in Poland, and all of the people who actually, they bodybuilding fans, they're watching the videos with the Polish bodybuilders, they're watching the pictures, and they can find all of the information about Polish bodybuilding in that website. So I was dreaming about that, to bring it something like that to Ireland, and that's how I actually started thinking about that. But to be honest with you, I didn't have, opportunities to start around with that because I was always very busy. I'm still a very busy person, so I couldn't imagine, to do that myself. And that was around September last year. I met Kamil, who's actually my business partner, and he's after the school. He finished the school like a movie maker, and he actually gave me that idea. I found my idea myself that he could be a person who could be my business partner, and he can actually helping me to realize my dream about Irish Muscle.
I'm glad you said that because me and Colin had talked about this in our radio show a few weeks back about the lack of media coverage. If you want any when's the next show, there's it on, who's guest, but then you couldn't find it until now, and I for one am glad Irish Muscle is here, because it's something that was badly needed in the market, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely it is, you know. So I'm really glad that, you know, in the first few months we see the progress, you know, month by month we have more users, more visit the website, you know, and all of that, but absolutely exploding was April. I remember that day when we hit that young lad, Aaron Power, I think that was Aaron Power.
Yeah.
18 years old. And that guy looks actually unbelievable. And since when we put this video on Irish Muscle, in the one night we had 1,500 open the website, visit our website. So that was something unbelievable, because till March we had around 5,000 every month, and we was very happy for that. In April we hit 30,000. You know, so that was like crazy, and since April, we stick, you know, we keep that level, you know, very high. We have around 30,000 every month, you know, users on our website. So we're very happy, you know, for that.
You know, David, that just shows how many people there are out there who do want information, but, you know, irishmuscle.ie is the only place right now where you can find it in a website fashion. You know, we have Your Physique Radio, but we tend to talk more about what's going on than to post it online. Tell me, why do you think NABA or RIBBF haven't got an up and running website that is actually up to date or even exists? Because currently, right now, they don't even have a website, period.
You know, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe they don't have enough time to do that. You know, maybe they don't have people who would like to do that. I don't know, maybe they don't have the money to do that, but, you know, to be honest with you, they should do that, because they like international federation, you know, and they're looking for information. The funny thing was, you know, I have also the personal training website, my own website, and before I open the Irish Muscle, when we start around with the Irish Muscle, many people was sending email to me, because I had some information that I represent RIBBF on the Irish National Championship and all of that, and many people were sending email to me how they can actually find the contact with someone from the federation to make an entry form, to, you know, anything like that. That's crazy, you know.
Just to go backwards a minute, you mentioned Aaron Hall in that match.
Yeah.
Do you know why he didn't compete?
You see, that's like his private issue, so I really don't want to get into that, you know. He's not still 80 years old, you know, so I think that was the main issue.
The guy has an incredible physique for his age.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that guy, he's amazing, because I remember he's not living in Dublin, and he was actually traveling to us around 2 hours by train, and he used to actually travel every week to that Physique gym. Physique, sorry, I don't remember the name. But he used to travel every week, you know, like 2 hours by train in one way, another 2 hours back, just to train in the proper equipment. So I'm really sure, you know, that guy will come back, because I spoke with him, and he said he'll be back when he'll be, you know, over 80 years old, you know.
David, tell us, with Irish Muscle Tour, what's next up on the agenda? Where are you off to next? What bodybuilders are you going to check in with, or, you know, are you going to be back down in more vitamin shops? Where are you going?
Yeah, we're actually planning to visit the Waterford this time. We didn't have a chance to go down there yet. So that's our next place, and I'm planning to invite for that Frank Keeley. He's my good pal, you know. He beat me on the Spring Classic last April, but we still in very good friendship, you know, together. So he's a really nice and friendly guy, you know. He helped us a lot, you know. Since the beginning of Irish Muscle, he said, listen guys, if you need any help, just let me know. So I really like that guy, you know. Absolutely fair play for him, you know. He absolutely deserved to beat me. on the Spring Classic. He was top shape, and he was doing that again like the week after on the European Championship. He was fixed, so absolutely great lineup in his class. So sixth place, I think that's a great achievement for Frank, and I'm sure he'll be back next year on the European, and he will take top 3. I'm sure of that. Right? I wish him good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. He's come a long way. The one show that I did myself was back in 2006, and Frank was in my class. It was the first timers at the Waterford Spring Classic, and he was definitely a big boy back then, and that's 6 years ago now. So he's gotten in better shape for each show, and like you said, he did look great at the last show.
I remember myself as well. In 2007, that was my first show. I won the first timer class, and he won over 90 kilos.
And I see actually he's posting for his next competition in terms of diet and preparation on the forum.irishmuscle.ie. So if anybody's interested in watching somebody who's at a top level in terms of competition and what they're going to do in terms of training and their diet leading into a competition, check out Frank's thread on forum.irishmuscle.ie, and you're going to grab good information right there. So David, in the last couple of weeks and months you've been travelling around Ireland with Irish Muscle TV, and you've been filming some of the top Irish bodybuilders, both amateur and at the professional end if we include Masoom Butt. Who so far has been the most impressive to you to video while training? Who is the most intensity?
To be honest with you, I think one of our last movie, that was absolutely amazing legs workout of Lachlan Gannon. That guy was so impressive to me. He was traveling himself from Dublin to Galway to us, and he was doing the legs workout. Everyone from you guys, you already probably seen that movie. Yep. He was hit actually 300 kilos squat without any support, without knee wraps. That was really crazy. And straight away after that, he will start doing the leg presses by 70 reps with a superset of 20 reps squatting with 120 kilos. I tried myself, week after that training, and I couldn't walk like 5 days, after that training. It was amazing. But, we've seen also, so much of comments, after his movies. So I'm sure, I wasn't, alone with that, and most of you lads was actually doing that crazy training.
So yeah, we did see those videos, David, and I have to say that there was another video of Lachlan doing front squats. It looked like he videoed himself and posted it up online, but the guy is crazy strong, especially in his squatting. Anyway, I'd love to see him train upper body, but definitely when it comes to legs, there's not many guys out there who are going to be able to hang with him for a leg session, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
David, when you went up to Derry to visit Masoom Butt, what was that experience like, and what was Masoom like in person? We had him on our show, and we watched your video and the interview that you did with him as well. And he, on video and on radio, he seems like a really nice guy, and through emails that we've had back and forth, seems like a very, very genuine guy. In person, what was the experience like, and his focus on training, what was he like at the gym?
He's actually one of the kind, I can say, about the training regime and the mentality about training and all of that, he's a very nice, friendly guy, very helpful at all. I had a chance to talk with him privately, after the session, and he seems to be very, very helpful. But to be honest with you guys, all of that guys from Derry, from that gym down there, they absolutely fabulous people. All Irish Muscle crew was feeling there great, and we want you back there once again. Especially big thanks to Billy Byrne, who actually organized everything for us right there. And we'll be back there soon, because the guys would like to helping me to with my preparation for the next show. So I will have a chance to train with Dave Fox, Masoom Butt, Andrew McBride, and Billy Byrne. So probably I stay with them, I think 2-3 days, and we'll be shooting the videos, and you can actually see that all of the training.
Excellent. Sounds really good, man. Looking forward to that already.
In 2010, you represented Ireland at the IFBB European Championships. and you got third in classic bodybuilding category. How was that experience?
That was absolutely amazing. That was my second European this time, and my main goal was to get into the final. But in prejudging, when I heard my name in the first call out, and I was actually first to the first call out, I said, oh my God, it's gonna be good. I knew it, that if they want me get to the lineup, like first person, it should be alright. But then it was a 2-day show. They're not doing that anymore, but that was a 2-day show, and I didn't have enough experience to keep the shape on 2 days. I was actually make that 100% shape on that Saturday because I knew it that I don't have enough experience. The judges doesn't know me very well, so nobody will give me extra points. So I knew that I had to be 100% on Saturday. And the two other Slovakian guys was just behind me. After the first day, I was first. And then in the final, they was actually beat me. It was actually, something weird for me because I lost my points against them in routine and posing, and I thought that my posing was, one of the very good, maybe even the best in that class. But I was third, and anyway, I was very, very happy to heard my name, and get the medal and all of that. It was absolutely amazing, and I would love to say big thanks to Mike Bowman because he gave me that opportunity to represent Ireland on the international level, and I hope I do that again this year. So I really want to thanks to Mike Bowman.
I presume you're entering the nationals this year in Limerick, yeah? Is that correct?
That's right, but I would love to do, one of the most serious competition for me 2 weeks before that. That would be European Arnold Classic, and I would love to compete under 85 kilos. But there's still 2-3 months, and we still waiting for confirmation. So I can't be sure will I compete or not, but I would love to.
David, tell me this, in terms of bodybuilding, what's your ultimate goal, being realistic about it? Do you plan on winning the European overall, turn pro? What's your number one goal?
You see, I was already twice, the overall champion, in Ireland in 2008 and 2009. So, to be honest with you, the main goal for me is getting, on high level of international level, but still amateur for sure, and got the medal like on the bodybuilding class, like under 90 kilos. That's my main goals. Maybe be a European champion under 90 kilos in the next couple of years. I'm sure that I'm not ready to get the first place now, but that's going to be my main goal for another good few years to get close to the weight limit under 90 kilos and be very competitive, on the European and the world level.
For the listeners out there, David, who haven't seen you on stage, what weight class you currently compete at, or what was the last one you competed at?
I was competing against Frank under 90 kilos. After 2 years break, I was competing the last time in 2010, and then I took a break. That was after that classic bodybuilding European Championship, where I got the third place. But that time my weight limit was 77 kilos, and 2 weeks before I was competing on a sprint class in Waterford, and I seen myself that I was around 81 kilos in very good shape, so I was had to sacrifice 3-4 kilos lean, good, solid muscle to get into my limit class on classic bodybuilding. And after that I said, no more, it don't make sense to burn muscles, that's not bodybuilding, if I have to sacrifice size and muscles, good muscles. So I said, okay, I take a longer break right now, 2 years, and I'll be back, and I try to compete in under 90 kilos. But on the day on the show, I was around 84 kilos, and that wasn't enough against Frank. Frank was very close to the limit, 90 kilos, and he was a bit bigger than me, and he was also in a very good shape, and he beat me that time. So to be honest with you, the best weight class for me, it would be right now under 85 kilos, but at this moment we don't have that class.
Yeah.
I really don't know why, because there is the under 70 and the under 75, under 80, and there's a big jump under 90 kilos, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not myself only, you know, with that problem, but any other guys who would like to change that class from under 80 to under 90, you know, they will sacrifice by condition because they want to be very close to the limit to make a chance to compete against that bigger guys, you know. Maybe next year, Federation will thinking about that, you know, and do some under 85 class. I know that maybe the problem was, you know, they didn't have enough guys to compete in, you know, and maybe that was the reason. But right now, we see that actually every year we have more guys. The last time was over 35 first-timers, you know, in the class. So I think the bodybuilding is getting more popular every year in the country. So hopefully they will do under 85. So that's for why it would be good class for them.
With the European Arnold Classic coming up, the amateur level, you know, if you get the go-ahead on that, David, when will competition prep start? Are we talking 16 weeks out, 12 weeks out? Have you any idea? What's your typical routine running into a competition?
I'm already on diet since 2 weeks. I spoke with Mike Bullman and he told me to start that preparation, so I started. And I started my diet around 12 weeks out, and that's what I used to do. But I know from my own experience since last few years that I'm actually in the shape too soon. Around 4 or 5 weeks out, I'm already in good shape, and that was the same thing what was happened to me before last spring classic. And then I have to, you know, thinking about, you know, what I have to do to keep that shape, and it makes me nervous, you know, I'm not sure I'm doing right or not. So this time I decided, you know, to just clean up the diet by first 2-3 weeks, and after, you know, that, around 10 weeks out, I start my cardio, but I've been doing only 25 minutes 3 times a week because I'm naturally fast metabolism person, so I'm really easy losing, you know, body fat and all of that, you know. Even my body doesn't want to keep water, you know, so, you know, make difficult and make easier as well, you know. But I still make that, I still teaching myself, I still, you know, make that experience from every single competition, and I knew it that I was actually did some couple mistakes before Spring Classic, especially with the water, because like I said, I'm losing water very easy, you know. Even like when I'm on creatine, I don't see myself that I'm get bulking crazy, you know. I'm not keep water at all, you know. So that's the difference. But I already started the diet anyway to Arnold Classic, and I'm keep going with that anyway. If I will not go, I'll be competing on the national, but I really love to, because, you know, it don't make sense, to be honest, for me, you know, to compete again, you know, just on the national, and I'm not competing on international level.
Absolutely. Let's we just want to touch with the Mr. Olympia competition coming up soon, and with the RIBBF kind of being the national level in Ireland for that in terms of the gateway. Who do you think, David, is the top 6? We have this topic up on your forum.irishmuscle.ie, but who's your top 6 prediction for this coming Mr. Olympia in the open class?
I know that Jay Cutler, he will not gonna be competing, but even if he would compete, I think the field kid will beat him again. Yeah. I love his physique. He improved a lot his chest, so he absolutely deserved for first place again, in my opinion. On the second place, I really see at this stage Brent Warren. Third place, I think Ty Green. And then Dennis Wolf, Ronnie Rocco, and Evan Centopani.
Okay. That doesn't sound like, I can't argue too much with that. I think there's some good names in there, and if they all come in shape, then I think you could be pretty close there, David, to what I would suggest myself. I know Craig would like to see Branch Warren take #1, but I'm not quite sure old Branch is going to do it this year. With Phil Heath looking the way he did last year, and looking the way he does off-season at the moment, I think Phil is going to be the man to beat for sure.
Okay, David, so just before we wrap up the interview, your team at Irish Muscle, do you want to name a few people who help you out every day. We see your latest people. You have is it Anne-Marie, and she looks like she trains pretty tough and pretty intense from the photos that you posted recently. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank for an Irish
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially Tom Hill. He's doing a great job with the movies, and we're getting better every single week, every single movie. So Tom is doing a great job, and he's doing that for absolutely free. So I'm really grateful for his dedication and for his great job. Also, I would like to say thanks, for my wife, because she's very patient, and all of that, because he helped me a lot. He was actually doing the videos for us on the national, but it's all about time, because the Irish muscle and other stuff what I'm doing taking me so much time. I don't have too much time for herself, so she's very patient, she's really kind, person, so she supports me a lot. Also, photographs was actually working for Irish Muscle. They're doing a great job. Oscar, he was working for us for a good few months, and you could see in his good few shots. Paul Wilson, he was working also for us. And now Michael, new photographs, he's doing a great job. He was doing the few shots for Locking Down last time, and we will continue work with him. So yeah, all of that people, they great, But to be honest with you, Irish Muscles wouldn't be exist without sponsors, And on the beginning, we couldn't find anyone who would like to support us. And just because I'm one of the owner of Vedami Shop, I asked the guys, to support Irish Muscles, support that idea. Because on the beginning, I was actually cover all of the expenses myself. But I knew that I can't do that by a long time, So the Vedami Shop was helping a bit with that, and I'm very grateful them because even since I think 2007, they are main sponsor with all of the shows like National RIBPF or Mr. Island. They always support the bodybuilders. Then we got some good sponsor from Optimum Nutrition, Track Nutrition, which is also my sponsor. And right now, the Stellucor, this is our new sponsor. And you know what, guys? We always would like to help the other bodybuilders. So I think I was actually made that idea that anyone who would like to be a partner or sponsorship of Irish Muscle need to be a sponsor of one of the athletes as well. So that's why we start the competition on our forum on Irish Muscle Bar with the Stellucor, and the Stellucor will be actually support the winner of that competition. So anyone who will actually take a part of this competition have a chance to a really good contract for Stellucor and Irish Muscle. But to be honest with you, I'm really surprised that only 3 or 4 people on that stage are taking part of this competition, and are most of the juniors or first timers. Where are the professional bodybuilders who's looking for a sponsor? Maybe we need a bit more time, but guys, there's a great chance. You should actually give a shot and make that chance and make that opportunity to get a sponsorship.
Yeah, I'd just like to say for anyone who's not aware, do go on to forum.irishmuscle.ie, scroll down to the bottom of the page and you'll see Stellucor down there. Click on it and you'll see where the competition is mentioned and all the details are given, and it's absolutely a good opportunity, or a great opportunity for somebody who's looking for a little bit of support from a really good supplement company. So if you haven't already checked it out, guys, do on forum.irishmuscle.ie in the Stellucor section. With that, David, we'd just like to say best of luck with irishmuscle.ie. We're really happy that you've added the forum section now, as it gives everyone an outlet to talk to one another and kind of go back and forth on diet and training ideas and keep up to date with the bodybuilding scene in Ireland. And also again with our partnership or association between Your Physique Radio and irishmuscle.ie as well, and the forum. We just wish you the best of luck, and we do appreciate you taking the time to come here on board today for an interview with us at Your Physique Radio.
Thank you very much, guys, as well, for your support. I think you're doing a great job, and we can do really good things together. And that was a great interview and great time with you guys. So thank you very much, and hear you soon again, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, David. We appreciate it.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So that's David Geller, guys, the man behind irishmuscle.ie. Go on to irishmuscle.ie today if you haven't already. Register with the new form and get involved as soon as you possibly can. Okay guys, our next topic is our top 5s of the week. This segment is brought to you by Body Benefit Health and Fitness. For more information, visit Body Benefit Health and Fitness on Facebook. Body Benefit Health and Fitness, making fitness fun. Craig, this week our top 5s are excuses not to go to the gym. I presume you got more than 5 in your little list there, but at least give me 5 of the excuses not to go to the gym that you have.
Alright, well, being it is a top 5, we'll only go with 5, but we could have done 105 each if we had that. So, well, at number 5, I'm going to say, why didn't you go to the gym? Because I don't feel well. Now, I've heard that a million times. Look, and okay, if you're in a hospital or excessively nauseous or you have a fever, you probably shouldn't be running a marathon, which is fair enough. That being said though, a cold, allergies, headache, even menstrual pains, and just not feeling great should not stop you from breaking a sweat. As a matter of fact, exercise can sometimes cure some of the most common ailments, including hangovers and colds, because sweating, which is a form of detox, allows you to release toxins that are guilty of making you feel under the weather. So next time you have a sniffle, guys, get out there, get into the gym, break up a sweat and get rid of them sniffles. It does work, I promise you. Number 4, I'm too tired. Okay. Hear this so often, so often. Now, the reality is, the exercise can get a bit, the reality is that exercise can get you over being tired. Exercise is helpful with improving and maintaining stable energy levels throughout the day, maintaining regular sleep patterns and overall mood. Exercise also improves regularity, guys. Yes, I do mean your digestive tract, and reduces incontinence, which can contribute to the feeling of sluggishness and being tired. Also, you being tired can also be because of your diet. You might have an absolutely terrible diet, and you're trying to expend X amount of calories and you're only taking in so much, so eventually your body will start to give up because it's not getting enough fuel. At number 3, it's too early or it's too late excuse. This isn't too far off number 4 actually, but if one of these is an excuse, the other shouldn't be, unless you're a professional sleeper. If you're a morning person, get up and exercise. Get up and exercise in the morning. If you're a night owl, exercise at night. Be sure, however, to leave a couple of hours in between your workout and going to bed to give your body enough downtime to transition to sleep. So basically, train whenever you feel at your best. So if you're not a morning person, don't get up at 6 o'clock and go to the gym. If you are a morning person, go and do it. Do what suits you best. Another one, number 2 is I'm travelling. This is an excuse. Granted, no, that can be more challenging to exercise when you are travelling, especially for business. But that doesn't mean you can't get exercise in. Like some tips, if you're staying in a hotel, stay at a hotel with a fitness centre or a gym. If the hotel doesn't have a gym, I'm sure it has a road somewhere where you can go out and walk, go out and jog, go out and run. You can do body weight exercises inside in the hotel room, squats, push-ups, sit-ups, that kind of a thing. They mightn't be, if you're really strong, you might have to do 20, 30, 40 reps, but you still get a bit good benefit from it. You could take a travel gym stick, which is very light, it's compact, and can give you up to about 35 kgs of resistance, and it's very light, and you wouldn't even notice it in your bag. Make sure you bring appropriate clothing as well when you're when you're traveling. So if you're traveling to a snowy climate, bring appropriate wear. If you're going to a sunnier climate, bring appropriate wear for training. And one of the most important parts of the traveling one is don't forget your sneakers, because you pretty much can't do anything without them. Well, as far as running and cardio is concerned anyway. So that's that. You can get yourself a fitness magazine, guys, or a DVD for your laptop, watch it on the plane or on the bus or whatever, or even in your hotel room, kind of get you in the zone for training. And at number 1, I think it'll probably be everyone's number 1. I haven't heard Colin's yet, but I'm sure it's going to be, I don't have enough time. This is the absolute worst excuse of them all. Why? Because you have to make time. If you don't prioritise exercise, you will never have enough time for it. So once you get used to making time, you realise you've always had time to fit in a workout. Whether it be squeezing in a brisk walk at lunch, scheduling you time in your calendar, or developing a daily routine that you can stick to, your time is yours, so use it wisely. And I'll finish with this, guys. Remember, those who do not have time for exercise will sooner or later have to make time for illness. So, guys, that's my top 5. I could think of a million other excuses, but they're just ones that came to my head first and foremost. Have you a top 5 first, Colin?
I do, Craig. Mine is a slightly different approach, but I'm just going to go back to 2 of yours there for a moment. One being I'm travelling, so I'm on business, whatever it is, I can't go. What I'll say about that is I have a client at the moment who is in his mid-50s, he's 54. He's in line to go in and get a shoulder operation on his labrum, so he's in to have it repaired as it was damaged prior to working with me. He has come to me to help him strengthen up prior to the surgery itself and then post for recovery purposes. But this guy travels probably every week for 2 or 3 days a week, and he still manages to maintain his exercise routine. He's a motivated guy. He's going to be competing in the World Games come September, so he knows what hard training is about. He's very athletic, but he doesn't make an excuse. He'll make sure that the gym he'll make sure that the hotel he goes to has a fitness center. And of course, sometimes you might not have the luxury of selecting your own hotel, but if you do, and you want to maintain your activity levels, absolutely pick one that has a fitness center. At the very least, they're going to have a treadmill and a bike and some dumbbells. And if you can't manage a small workout out of that, just to help maintain at least, you really haven't learned anything in the time you've been going to the gym anyway. So travel, I think, I understand people, when I'm going on holiday, they're going to take a week off. Fine if you're taking a week off because you plan to take a week off from exercise, but blaming your holiday for not being able to train is completely different. And then the second one there, Craig, you mentioned about not having enough time. This is also one that I do have in my list, and I'll use it as number 1 so that I remember to mention it in yours. Not having enough time, to me, the biggest one I will look at here is if people say they don't have enough time, but then all of a sudden they go and they have a child, they'll make as much time as is required for that child, there's no question. And a newborn baby is going to take more than 1 hour of attention a day. And whereas the gym, you can get in and get out, you can go whenever it fits into your schedule, but it's all about priorities. And of course, your baby is your priority, your newborn is your priority, but when it's needed, when it's necessary, when it's absolutely demanded of you, people can always make time for stuff. It's whether they want to or not. So when you gotta go to the gym, you gotta want to go. If you want to go, you'll make time. It's as simple as that. My other ones then are kind of more based toward people who typically don't go to the gym, period, as opposed to not going to the gym today because I'm tired.
Okay, that's a good concept. Nice one. Okay, that's very good.
My one is I've never been before. You got to get rid of that excuse. People are always afraid of what they don't know. Go, try it out. Go to your local place, pay €5 or $10, whatever the case is. Go in and try it out. And just go in on your own terms, look at the machines, go in at whatever time you think is going to be the quietest or the best for you, and just figure it out. There's always going to be someone on hand who can at least show you how to start up the machines and get them going. They might not necessarily be able to give you a full exercise program, and to be very honest, on that very first day I wouldn't recommend it anyway. But definitely just go and try it out. The last thing I want to hear is, I've never been to one before, so I'm not going to bother now. That's the biggest pile of crap. If you want to go. Don't use your past experiences or lack of as a reason not to go to the gym. The second one then is I'm pregnant. Now, as far as I'm aware, if you're pregnant, you can still move, and if you can still move, you can still go to the gym. So again, it's a completely crap excuse. If anything, it's more of a reason to go to the gym if you're pregnant, because you do want to maintain good hormone levels. You do not want to get into the stage where you're sitting down on your ass all day and you're just overeating for 2 or 4 or 6 or whatever you feel like you need to eat. In reality, we spoke about this before, you do not need to gain that amount of weight that most people do. You can use the gym as your counterbalance. Get into the gym, just stay active. Even if you're just walking on a treadmill or using a bike, at least stay active. It's going to benefit your child. Your unborn child is going to thank you when they come out in 10-15 years time, when they understand the concept. Thanks, mom, you helped me out a lot there by exercising while I was still in your womb. Very, very, very important. I'm not going to say go and run marathons, but definitely get in and do some sort of activity, or even just go outside and walk on the roads. Again, be careful, be safe, but there's no reason why you cannot exercise when you're pregnant. 3, people will judge me. Believe me, it happens with everyone. Bodybuilders get judged, and these guys are 250 pounds of muscle, or 200 pounds of muscle, whatever it is. People who are 250 pounds of body fat. Everyone gets judged from time to time, but 99% of the time, everyone is there for the same reason. They're all looking at each other saying, oh, I wonder what they're up to, I wonder what they're doing, what exercise is that, best of luck to that guy. Or if you see someone who's clearly relatively new or is severely overweight and you're looking at him in the gym, as far as I'm concerned, I'm motivated by seeing this guy at the gym. I'm motivated by seeing that he or she wants to make a change in their life, and that they're at the gym trying to do that, and they're trying to exercise and burn those excess calories, and for a good for well-being, personal, self-belief, self-motivation. You can do it and all this kind of stuff. Absolutely. Don't not go to the gym because you feel like you're going to be judged. More often you'll be judged more so for not going to the gym because you feel like you'll be judged. Get in there, do what you gotta do, leave, forget about anybody else, be proud of your achievements, try and do the best that you can, get to the gym and be active. The next one up is that it didn't work the last time I tried. Now if it didn't work the last time I tried, most likely you didn't try hard enough. Okay, now as harsh as that may sound, it's the truth. Exercise works, diet works. It's up to you to make sure you put the plans in place and you track your progress and you maintain good levels of exercise and the good eating habits that you should be doing and instill into your daily routine and make it a part of your life. Don't just do it because your friend said, oh, we should go to the gym for a week, and you join up at wherever the circuit training places are. Exercise is exercise. Do what you got to do. You'll probably make the next step to a standard gym and get away from the curves aspect, but regardless, even if you're outside just walking around, I would prefer that. So don't say that it didn't work the last time I tried, because you didn't work the last time I tried. You didn't work hard enough, you didn't eat the right foods or the right amount of foods, whatever the case may be. So it's all about you. If you've never been before, go. If you're pregnant, go. People are not going to judge you. You do have time, you'll make it if you want it bad enough, and it will work this time if you work at it. So they're my 5, Craig. Slightly different to yours, a slightly different approach, but definitely, like you said, we could come up with a million of them if we wanted to, different reasons that people come up with. At the end of the day, if you want to go, you go. If you don't, you don't. But don't complain about it when you're sitting there 50 or 60 pounds overweight because you're stuffing your face every night.
Yeah.
As harsh as that
what
might
I would
be.
say as well, Colin, about the pregnancy one is, if you're at home, you should be only not going to the gym because your doctor told you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be going to the gym, or you're bedbound, one of the two. There's no other excuse for it. If you have the doctor or whoever it is looking after you at the time, and he says or she says you cannot exercise, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, then that's fine. That's your ticket out. It's not an excuse because the doctor told you to do this. It's very, very rarely you'd hear a doctor say that when it's not supposed to be said, because they want you to be healthier, especially when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And plus, it'll be much easier post-birth to lose the baby weight and so on and so forth. Secondly, what I will say is, it's not a time to start the gym when you become pregnant. So if you're overweight and then you get pregnant, you go, oh my God, I should lose the weight because I have a baby now, blah blah blah. I would recommend maybe starting walking or something. That's as far as you go.
Yeah.
Don't. It's not a time to start. But if you are thinking at them lines, when the baby's born, if you have a section, you have to wait at least 12 weeks. If it's a natural birth, you got to wait 6. When the 6 weeks is up, if you still have them inclinations, then go down to your local health store or your local health place and get sorted. I'm telling you, because you won't look back. You really, really won't.
Alright, well with that then, Craig, we've finished our top 5s of the week, and we will have more next week, so we will move on. Q&A is up now, guys, and we've got 2 questions. One is coming from Connor in Wexford, and another one is anonymous through our Facebook page. The first one, Craig, I'll read it out if you want to give an answer to it. I was wondering if you have any recipes, as I'm useless in the kitchen and want healthy, tasty meals. I eat everything, and anything will help. Thank you, love the show. So, Connor's question, Craig, go for it.
Okay, well, Connor, thanks for getting in touch. I've printed out some stuff here for you now, and it's stuff that's pretty easy to make. They're very decent and healthy to eat. I'll start with just something as simple as sweet potato fries. Peel and chop into thin lengths and place in a salad bowl, right? Add 1 tablespoon of walnut or macadamia nut oil. Add pepper and a spice of your choice. I use paprika or Italian seasoning, or whichever one you want to use. Mix together by hand and place on parchment paper in the oven for 20 minutes at 180. I'm not sure what that gas mark is, but 180 degrees. That's simple sweet potato fries. Lovely snack. You know, if you, instead of having nachos, you could use them for dipping and stuff. They're really healthy and they're really nice, and they're way better than regular fries. Just something as simple as chicken breast with the seasoning of your choice. Now, what I do is I take the chicken out and leave it out of the fridge for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you should do that with all meat. Don't take it out of the fridge and go straight into the oven or straight onto the pan. No matter what it is, steak as well, steak especially actually, because when it comes out of the fridge, it still has water inside it, so you need to leave that water seep out when it's out to room temperature. So 10-15 minutes is all it needs. But chicken breast with seasoning of your choice, place in the oven, cover gently with a bit of tin foil, and that'll keep all the moisture of the chicken, and it tastes awesome. Now, as far as a meal goes, 6 ounces of chicken breast sprinkled with char-grilled chicken seasoning with sweet potatoes, mushrooms, and some steamed broccoli. Now, you might think, Jesus, I'm not very good in the kitchen. This is actually pretty easy if you do it in a step-by-step, which I'll put you through now. I'll also email you this as well, Connor, because I'll just reply to your email that you sent us. So just to make it easier, so you can follow it in a step-by-step. But for everyone else listening, baked sweet potato chips, baked sweet potato chips, sirloin steak, steamed asparagus. So what you're going to need is sweet potato steak, mushrooms and onions are optional, asparagus, oil, black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and a baking tray with parchment paper. So the sweet potato chips, as I said before, okay? Now, what am I doing here now? What's the next step? No, the steak, okay? I cook the steak in the pan with 1 calorie spray. I sauteed my mushrooms and onions in walnut oil. So that's just put the mushrooms and onions in the walnut oil and leave them on the pan. Okay? I didn't add anything to the asparagus, but you can add salt if you want, or drizzle some oil if you like. And serve them with some lemon slices. Unbelievable, beautiful meal. Very healthy. You can make yourself a healthy chicken curry. 2 large onions, sliced. 1 pint of chicken stock, 2 teaspoons of turmeric, 3 cardamom pods, 1 1-inch piece of cinnamon stick, 4 peppercorns, 4 cloves, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 tablespoon peeled and grated ginger root, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, half a teaspoon of mild chili powder, 3 garlic cloves crushed, 4 1200 gram skinless and boneless chicken breast sliced. You're going to need some fat-free natural yogurt, brought to room temperature, and salt. 2 tablespoons of chopped coriander leaves. That's just to garnish it in. They're optional, you don't really need them. But if you're cooking for somebody, or a female and trying to impress her or whatever, it's not a bad idea. Yeah, I know it's only coriander, but it makes it look awesome. It does. I don't know why. Most people probably won't even eat the coriander, just move it to the side. It does look good. Put the onion and the chicken stock in a large, heavy base saucepan. Cover the pan and bring it to the boil, and then boil for about 10 minutes. Reduce the heat. Take the cover off the pan and cook gently for about 20 minutes, or until the onion is tender, golden and syrupy. You'll know what I mean when I say that. So. And all the spices, add garlic to the pan, cook for 3 to 4 minutes, then add chicken and cook for a few minutes to coat in the spices, then stir in the remaining chicken stock. Cover the pan and simmer very gently over a medium heat for 20 minutes until the chicken is cooked. transfer the curry to a large serving bowl, add your 2 tablespoons of cooking sauce to the of the cooking sauce to the yogurt and stir well. Gradually add the yogurt into the curry, stirring as you're pouring it in, and like I said, garnish it with the chopped coriander, and you've a healthy chicken curry there, made with fat-free yogurt. Alright, chocolate brownies, if you're looking for a snack, these are awesome. They're packing about 10 grams of protein and about 10 grams of carbs, dead handy. It's better than a chocolate bar. You do get the chocolatey taste off it. So, healthy chocolate brownies, you're going to need 1 cup of oat flour or blended porridge oats, 4 egg whites, 2 scoops of chocolate whey, or vanilla, doesn't matter, but chocolate if you're making chocolate brownies, not vanilla brownies. In fact, any flavour will do, but the cocoa gives them their colour, so for me it's always going to be chocolate. Half a cup of stevia, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 8 ounces of flavoured baby food. Now you can get, as soon as you're in Ireland, you're in Wexford, go down to your local store and look for Hippo Organic Just Fruit. Right, they're 100 gram tubs, they're perfect. I take a little extra as well from the 3rd tub to make the 8 ounces. So you're gonna need a 4. You buy them in a 4-pack.
Hang on there, Craig. You said baby food.
Baby food, yeah.
Like, so there's small glass jars.
Well, yeah, something similar, yeah, but it's more. It looks like a yogurt almost.
All right.
No, it's like a yogurt. You peel the top of it off.
Okay.
And you're gonna need 3 tablespoons of baking cocoa and 2 ounces of water. You can add some crushed walnuts, which I did, and when I was dieting, these were dead handy. If you like, and they will obviously make up the calories higher, but the fat content, however, will be good fat, so don't worry. Get a Pyrex dish as well if you have one handy. Preheat the oven to 180. Mix the dry ingredients. That could be your oat flour, whey, baking soda, salt, baking cocoa. Mix that in a large bowl, and then mix your wet ingredients, which will be your egg whites, stevia, flavoured baby food, and water in a medium-sized bowl. Add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients mixed together. Spray the cooking dish with your 1 calorie spray and add the mixture to the dish. Bake for 20 to 30 minutes in the oven. Should be done in 20 for a fan assisted oven. After 20 minutes you can do a test, so you stick a fork or a toothpick in it, and if they come out clean, you're good to go. If they come out still with a bit of chocolate on top of the fork, they still need a minute or two, or a couple of minutes, so enjoy after that. And probably the most simple one would be get a blender and add 2 scoops of whey and only maybe 50 mils of water. So you're making a very, very thick shake. Make that up, blend it all up, so it's actually like tar, it's like glue. Pour it into like some mug or something, and then put the mug into the freezer for about half an hour. That'll go hard. When you take it out, eat it with a spoon. It's like eating chocolate ice cream, or whatever flavoured whey you put in. It's dead handy. The only ingredients is whey protein and water. It does feel like you're eating ice cream. I've done this countless times, especially when I was dieting. It's dead handy, and you feel like you're cheating, but you're not. So hopefully them things now will stand to you, mate. Like I said, I'll email these on to you, and if you have any more questions, feel free to ask away, alright? So that's it, Colin, that's all I got.
Alright, well, I'd like to add to that, and I'm no Dorina Allen, so I'll make it as simple as possible for anyone out there who likes the easiest way possible to make a nice healthy meal, in terms of, you know, you're trying to eat clean but eat nice at the same time. You're going to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, or that's 350 Fahrenheit. You're going to place some foil on a baking tray. You're going to oil it up, hopefully with some spray oil, because it's always going to be less waste and less unnecessary oils in there. You're going to slap on a 6 to 8 ounce piece of salmon, so hopefully wild as opposed to farmed. Put it on there. Next to that, you're going to put down half a bunch of asparagus, so probably 8 or 9 pieces of asparagus just beside it. And then next to that again, you're going to have a sweet potato. You're going to have peeled, and you're going to have sliced into discs, let's say. Place them along the side of the tray as well. So you've got your salmon on the left, asparagus in the center, your very thinly sliced sweet potato on the right hand side. Cover that again with another sheet of tin foil. Throw it into the oven. 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending on how you like your veg cooked. The salmon will be done. Pull it out. You're good to go. If you do want to add stuff to it, I would recommend adding prior to. because to me it tastes a lot better when you drizzle some extra virgin olive oil over the asparagus and sweet potato, and add some salt and pepper or garlic salt, whatever condiments you like. But definitely pull it out, it's ready to go, slide it onto a plate, you're done. And I typically do that with everything. So I do with salmon, I do with chicken. Red meat, not so much. I normally fry red meat. If I'm having a steak, I'll typically fry it as opposed to oven bake or whatever you want to call it. But definitely nice and simple, no fuss, no mess, and within 25 minutes you're sitting down to eat. So that would be my quick and easy meal. So for the Kennedy Cookbook, which will be available next week, all Burns and good bookstores. But
Christmas with the Kennedys.
That's it, yeah. But yeah, I like to keep things very simple with my food. I don't go too hard when it comes to recipes and this. Quantities will typically remain the same, but you know, asparagus, sweet potato, salmon, chicken, whatever type of fish you like, same idea. Just I typically bake it if I'm going to be doing it as a meal like that. I would bake it. It's the easiest way as far as I'm concerned to get it done. But what you said there, yeah, absolutely, Craig. Even if not, if the recipes you have, maybe send them, stick them up in a post on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Your Physique Radio, and people can refer to them there while they're actually at their table instead of having to kind of listen back twice or three times to get all the information, because there was a lot of information there. So guys, do go online. Craig, I'm sure, will post it before you even hear this. It will be available. But definitely some good recipes there for sure. The chocolate brownie cookies, I like the idea of. I might get my wife to make some today actually. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's easy to make, like.
Yeah.
In fairness.
That sounds good. Second question then is, like I said earlier, it's anonymous. It's coming through our Facebook page. He goes, "Hey guys, to be honest, do you think that it is possible to be a professional bodybuilder without steroids?" Now, as simple as this question is, the answer is quite simple too. I think yes, you can become a professional bodybuilder without using steroids. However, if you get there, I am pretty damn sure you're never going to be Mr. Olympia or Mr. Arnold Classic. I would have to bet my life on that the top 20 guys who you will see come Mr. Olympia this coming September, the end of September this year, 100% they will all be on and have used for numerous years. Look, it's part of the sport. It is what it is. Don't think for a second when you watch the Olympics today or tomorrow that you're not looking at guys who are using steroids as well. Maybe not all of them, but definitely some. But to answer your question, yes, I believe it is possible, but no, I do not think you will be a top level professional bodybuilder by any means. It's just, like I said, it is what it is. Craig, what do you think?
Oh, jeez, straight out. I mean, an analogy I'd use would be, I'm 500 pounds, can I run a marathon? You probably could. It might take you about a day and a half, but you can do it. You're never going to win the gold medal in a marathon running or the Olympics, but you can do it. That's just to use a simple analogy, guys. Colin said the top 20 guys in the Olympia. I'd go as far as saying the top 100 guys, if there was a ranking, every single one of them is or has done in the past, like performance enhancing drugs. Like they all have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not for it or against it. That's their own choice. And look, I follow it, so I'm supporting it in a way. But it is what it is. It's our sport. It's what we do. Yeah. And you can do it naturally, and you can just be a fantastic athlete naturally. There is natural competitions out there. You just gotta find them. There's not many, but they're out there. You're gonna have to look for them. Especially in America, you'll find them handy enough, I'd say. Yeah. In Ireland, not so much. Maybe in Europe and England, I think they have some. But yeah. So, like I said, at the Olympia, no way. Absolutely no way. Every single one of them are juicing.
Yeah, and you're going to have some guys who are listening and saying, "Oh, not a hope, can you turn pro, this and that." You got to remember that there's categories out there that are 145 pounds, 155 pounds, 165 pounds, and I absolutely think that you can be 165 pounds lean and ripped and turn pro at that weight, absolutely. Now, in recent years, that has only come into place where pro cards are handed out to each category in most competitions at the national level, whereas prior to that, you had to be the overall winner. And at that stage, no, there was no question the 155 pounder was not going to beat the heavyweight or the super heavyweight for the pro card. But in today's competition, there are more given out, and they're given out to the lighter weight guys. So yes, I do 100% believe you can become an IFBB pro naturally, but no, you're not going to be competing in the top 20 in the world naturally in the IFBB league. Now, there are professional leagues which are natural, or so-called natural, that's all I'll say, but definitely IFBB, it is possible to become a pro, but not going to happen to be Mr. Olympia. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What I will say, actually, just in regards to that, if I'm not sure what age the person is who sent in this question, but if you're in your teens, don't even consider it. It's as simple as I'm going to say. Don't even consider it. Wait till you're 20, 21, 22 to even think about the idea. And I'll go back and say that I was listening to an interview with Dave Palumbo recently, and he is, everyone knows out there, is one of the better known guys for recommending high dosages of this and of that and whatever else. And he was asked if he had a son who wanted to compete in bodybuilding, would he encourage him to take steroids? And he said no. Now, if a guy who currently recommends them to people is saying no to one of his own sons doing it, you got to understand that he's not fully sure that the benefits outweigh the risks. Now, do it correctly, that's one thing, but as a teenager, typically we tend to abuse things. So we'll abuse alcohol, we'll abuse drugs, abuse steroids, whatever it is. You tend to think more is better. Now, when you get later on, you're probably going to be a little bit better in terms of your comprehension of, well, I don't need more for the sake of getting better. What I have is perfect and this and that. But I would definitely say, if you're going to do them, absolutely, you do what you want to do. But I would definitely wait until you're in your early 20s at the earliest. See how far you can get genetically. If you've been training 4, 5, 6, 7 years naturally, then maybe possibly, but absolutely not recommending any of it to anyone, especially not teenagers. But again, look, it's your physique, it's your choice, and we'll leave it at that. Craig, next week we'll have our review of the Pro Bodybuilding Weekly show in Tampa, Florida. So again, we're really looking forward to that one. It should be a good show, and absolutely we'll give a very good coverage on that for next week in episode number 12. Our topic of the week will be heart rate training. So how to use your heart rate to optimize your training results, most likely geared towards field sports or athletic as opposed to bodybuilding, but nonetheless can be incorporated, especially when you're doing your cardio for your fat loss. Our top 5s will be exercises performed incorrectly, so the ones that are most often done wrong, and our Q&A will be back. So again, get your questions into us. If you would prefer to be anonymous, let us know, but if not, we will call out your name unless stated otherwise. Craig, if people want to get in touch with us, how can they do so?
Okay, so if you want to get in contact with Colin directly, guys, get onto www.yourphysiquepersonaltraining.com. If you want to contact myself, go onto my Facebook page at facebook.com/Castlemaine Gym. If you want to contact the show, get onto our Facebook page at facebook.com/YourPhysiqueRadio. If you want to email us, you can email us at yourphysiqueradio@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter, guys, at Physique Radio.
Alright guys, well with that then we come to the end of episode number 11. Be sure again to check out irishmuscle.ie and their new forum. And we do have our own section in there, so you can comment about past shows or upcoming shows. And until next week, remember, it's your physique.
And it's your choice.
Thank you for listening to Your Physique Radio in association with irishmuscle.ie. Replays of all previous episodes can be found on iTunes, YouTube and Facebook. And for advertising opportunities, you can contact us at yourphysiqueradio@gmail.com. Your Physique Radio.